I'm Tom Hart. I'm from St. Margaret Mary, and I want to welcome you all. And this is a really outstanding turnout. This is going to be a very special evening. Now, I'm into words, and a word that has become very special to me is serendipity. That is an unexpected, surprising happening or person, whatever, that really changes your life. I had the good fortune, Owen's mother, Irene, happened to gift Rosemary and I with a copy of the book. And being a reader, I read the front cover, read all the testimonials on the back, looked at the table of contents, and I was intrigued by the titles. And I started reading, and I found that this book is well worth the effort. There's a lot of good information. And found out from Irene that her son was going to be coming for a visit. So long story short is that this is how this night came about. And we've been emailing back and forth, and I really feel that I have a very dear friend in Owen, and I think you'll really enjoy his. I'm not going to give the biography on him, but as an introduction, there are a lot of nuggets, there's a lot of surprises in this, and I would like to share something, a humorous anecdote that he has in his book. He is a teacher. He comes from the corporate world before that, and this shows how gratitude can extend beyond the classroom and even out in the work world, which probably is very much needed nowadays. But this is gratitude at work. One afternoon years ago, when I worked in logistics, the act of writing this gratitude list, the gratitude list is making a list of 5 things that you're grateful for every day. And Owen will go into more detail on that. Brought about a humorous incident. As a gentle reminder came up on my screen to do your gratitude list, I took a few moments from my busy day to make my daily addition to the list. Astonishingly, when I took this action, I always felt better and re-energized enough to get through the rest of the workday. On that day, I finished the list, saved it, and was about to get back to work when I heard a voice over my shoulder say, "That doesn't look like work-related." Turning around to my cubicle, I saw my boss looking over my shoulder at my gratitude list. Thus far, I had not shared the joys of gratitude with my boss. In a nanoseconds, I had to decide how to respond to my boss. Should I be honest or make up some cover story? I was happy to report that I went with the honest answer. You're right. This isn't directly work-related, but it is a gratitude list. It helps me focus on what is good in life, and this actually helps me stay positive. I can even help our customers and my coworkers more if I practice gratitude. Okay, I did get a little carried away in my reply, but I did believe that gratitude was changing the way I related to customers and my coworkers. Coming back to the situation, I studied the face of my boss intently to see his reaction. His stoic countenance did not give anything away. He waited another second and said, "That gratitude list is working. We have noticed how positive you are, and it is affecting everyone else around here. Keep up the good work. And by the way, we just thought you were so positive because you were on drugs." And you can learn how to respond to your boss from. So I'd like you to join me in welcoming Owen Griffith.
Thank you, Tom. And my name's Owen Griffith, and I am so grateful to be here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank
Grateful
you.
to have you.
Oh yeah, thank you. And Tom and Rosemary Hart put this together, so can we have a big round of applause for them? St. Margaret Mary Church. St. Margaret Mary Church has been a big part of my life and my family's life. I used to come here when my mom taught the preschool kids, and I bring my guitar. My brother Danny, who's here tonight, got married here. My sister Carolyn got married here. So thank you for having me here tonight. I can't think of a better place to express this message of gratitude. So gratitude has been a big part of my life, and this book, Coming Into Being, has been a wonderful gift. You know, gratitude is something I think we all know on many levels is a good thing. But how do we really practice it in our lives? And you know, the cover of my book, one of the fun things after I wrote the whole book, is they asked me, my publisher asked me to pick a cover, right? And so they had over 10 million images that I could pick from. So I went through all the different images and I narrowed it down. I looked at education, I looked at gratitude, and this is the one that I really liked with the brain and the heart. Because I think what gratitude does, when we practice these gratitude activities, we make it part of our life, we make that farthest journey of all from our head down to our heart. When we really start to feel this and we start to practice it, and it affects us and it affects the people around us. So let me give you a little background. I'm a school teacher. I teach 4th grade at St. Catherine of Siena School in Kennesaw, Georgia. It's just a little north of Atlanta. I grew up here in Torrance. I went through the Torrance schools. I went to Cal State Dominguez Hills. But then my wife's family, when Northrop moved down to Georgia, they moved that way. And we went down there and liked it. So I've been in Georgia now for 11 years, and I like it, but with the triple-digit weather and the humidity down there right now, it's wonderful. When I got off the plane yesterday at LAX, before that ocean breeze, it's wonderful to be back here. So gratitude, I've been using it for 11 years in the classroom, but I really started my gratitude list and I started practicing gratitude about 15 years ago. And Tom, thank you for reading that story. That was just about when I started using it in my life. You know, I hadn't always been a grateful person. I'd always tried to be positive, and I have a degree in psychology. And so I kind of knew some of the background of it. But, you know, when I was working, I worked this long shift from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I found by the time I got home, I just didn't have much energy left. And, you know, I'd see my wife, and I'd just maybe watch TV and eat and go to bed. And so I knew this woman, Marlene. And Marlene always seemed to have a smile on her face. So I thought, she's one of the lucky persons who doesn't have any problems, right? Everything just goes her way all the time. But as I got to know her, I found out her daughter had cancer. She was struggling with some other issues. And so I asked her, I said, Marlene, how do you do it? How do you stay so positive? And she goes, well, every day, no matter what, I write down gratitude. And all my friends, everyone I know who does it consistently, who just writes 5 things, numbers them every day, says thank you for whatever. And you do this consistently, within a couple weeks, you'll notice something positive happen. For some people, it's more dramatic than others. And I started doing it, and sure enough, she was right. As I started doing that, I'd forget though. I'd get home and I go, oh, I'd forgot. So I actually used technology. I had, on my computer at work, I'd have a little reminder come up every day at about 4:30, do your gratitude list, until it became a habit. And it's nice, we have iPhones now where you can do it. We have all kinds of things to help us remember. So I started using gratitude there, and it really did help. We had 150 employees, and not long after that story, I was voted Employee of the Year. And they asked how I did it, and I said, it's using gratitude, it's staying positive. And in the day when I did logistics and I did customer service and marketing, when I'd have to solve those problems, I'd just think, what can I be grateful for in this situation? You know, and it would take the stress out of the situation. It would take a lot of the things that normally would be unpleasant. A lot of times when there would be something going on with logistics, we'd solve that problem and we could help it from not happening again. You know, or I could get somebody their food that they needed. So I was working there, but I felt myself being called to become a teacher. And the last day before I went into teaching, the CEO of the company came out and he had a cake and it said, I wish I could be in Mr. Griffith's class. So, and it's kind of nice. Their company, I sent him a thing about the book, and he ordered all his salesmen to order this book and to study it, because he said if a salesman can get gratitude in their life, they can really do better. So I went into teaching, and the first year I taught 7th grade, the hormonally challenged, we affectionately call them. And then I went down to the 4th graders. I love 4th grade. 4th grade kids, they're old enough to really be able to grasp things in life, but they're still young enough to where they just have that joy and wonder and gratitude. With the 7th graders, it was a little harder. With the 4th graders, they just embrace it. they just embody gratitude. So it's been a wonderful thing for me to be able to share with them. You know, life is challenging. Gratitude isn't a panacea. It's not a quick fix. It's going to take all my problems away. But it is something that when I practice it as a way of life, it does help me to see all the good things. And I think one of the best things I've seen with my students and my colleagues, my family and friends, is when people really practice gratitude, it really is something that can draw us closer together. When I'm grateful for my mom, it just is going to help that relationship get better. When I'm grateful for my wife and my son, I had a friend who said every day before he gets out of bed, he thinks of 3 things he's grateful for about his wife. And that turned his marriage around. When he looked at the positive things in her, it just helped him bring out all the good things. So, I mean, we can apply gratitude on so many levels. You know, gratitude is contagious. You know, I tell my students, attitudes are contagious as yours worth catching. You know, because whether you have a good attitude or a bad attitude, as educators, you know, it's even more important because I have 28, 35 students there every day who are going to catch my attitude. You know, so it's amazing, and in our families, attitudes are also very contagious. So we can spread them around. We can really do a lot of things. I started practicing gratitude with the students, and it just kind of seemed like a nice way to start the day. It seemed like a nice way to do that. And the second year I was teaching, this little girl, at the end of the year, her mom came to me, and she gave me a journal. And she said, you probably don't know this, but my daughter, after she started doing the gratitude list with you, she saved up her allowance, and she sat us all down. And she said, Mom, you look really stressed out. You're in nursing school. I know it's real hard on our family, so I saved up my allowance, and I got sister here a gratitude log. I got you, Mom, and I got Dad a gratitude list. And we're all going to practice this as a family. So I wanted to just read you real quick what the mom wrote and then what she wrote, because this is where I saw that gratitude is something that it's more. It's something that as we practice it, it gets spread out to the world. So the mom wrote, Mr. Griffith, thank you for a great year. I'm sorry, the daughter or the student wrote this first. Mr. Griffith, thank you for a great year. I'll never forget you. You're the best teacher I've ever had. Without you, I would have never known about the attitude of gratitude. You will always be at the top of my gratitude list. Your student, Emma. And then the mom wrote, Mr. Griffith, I can't thank you enough for the year you gave Emma. I have watched her grow in so many ways, and many of them I have you to thank. I especially want to thank you for the attitude of gratitude. I have to be honest, when she gave me the gratitude journal for Christmas, I was a little wary. But out of love for Emma, I did it. The journal has become very special to me. Please use this journal, as it says in the front, write with all your heart about your special teaching moments. When you're having a bad day, look back and remember all the students and families you have touched through the years. You have touched us. Good luck and God bless. See you in the halls. Emma's mom. So when I saw that, how that helped her, I knew that gratitude could do more. Now, other teachers started seeing kind of the positive vibe I was going on and said, one of the teachers said, you should really start a blog. You should really do something that is going to get this positive message out to other teachers. Teachers are struggling. She gave me the statistics. She said, did you know in the first 3 to 5 years, half of the teachers that started quit? And it's for a number of reasons, but one of the main reasons is because they're stressed out. And I know gratitude can help stressed out teachers. So I started this blog, and I just started posting stuff about using gratitude in class, the simple ways to start it with your class. And I have the step-by-step instructions here, but you basically on the board, I'd say, okay, we're all going to keep this list, and we're going to do 5 a day. Here's the way to do it. And so I'd ask them, what can we be grateful for? And we'd start it out, and I'd say, what's the opposite of gratitude? And it'd come back to complaining. And I'd say, I bet some of you complaining, you don't even realize how much you're complaining. So the first thing, their first homework is to carry around a little index 3x5 card. And you guys could try this. I've tried this before. And anytime I feel like complaining, I write it down. Whether it's about complaining about traffic, complaining about the weather, and you just realize that you're complaining. And then you have to flip the card over and turn that into a gratitude. So I'm complaining about the weather. It's too hot. Well, what can I be grateful for? The sun's shining today. There's an ocean breeze. I could be in Atlanta, Georgia again, where it's 100 degrees right now. So I started this blog, and it's really kind of fun when I use my blogger program that I can see where people are picking up gratitude. And it started to catch on in this country, and teachers in Russia, teachers in France were picking this up. I know they need a lot of gratitude over there. And I wanted this to get out there, so I posted one of my blogs to Edutopia, which it's a website that teachers post to. George Lucas started this, where it's a great idea, where teachers will videotape a best lesson or share ideas. They posted it, and 25,000 teachers read that the first week. And one of the people who read that was a publisher. And she sent me an email. She said, "You have a really strong message here, and I would really like you to write a book." So that was 2 years ago. And so all these things kind of fell in place to me. I never had the ambition to be a book writer, but I knew that a book would be a good way to get this message out to other educators, to parents, and to people who really needed this. So that's where the gratitude comes from, the gratitude book. Some people ask me, "Are you a gratitude master?" And I will tell them, no, I am far from a gratitude master. I'm still human. And it's great being a teacher, because what happens, the kids call me on it, right? I got caught in a really bad traffic jam. My commute's not bad most days, but one day I was caught in a traffic jam and I was stressing out, and I walked in the door, and one of the girls said, "Time to do our gratitude list." And I said, "I don't feel like it today." And she said, "Why not?" And I said, "I was just in a traffic," and she goes, "Well, wasn't the sun rising while you were there?" I said, "Right." She goes, "Couldn't you have looked there and been grateful for the sunrise, and couldn't you have done it?" So it's great. My students, my wife, my son, they will all remind me to be grateful, which is wonderful. And I think, vulnerability is something that really gets put out there too. When we're willing to be grateful to our students, to our family members, to our coworkers, when we're willing to put ourselves out there, it really opens us up in a way that really can increase those relationships. I think that one of the people who has really helped me a lot is a Benedictine monk. His name is Brother David Stendhal Rast. He has a website it's really one of the most powerful websites. It's www.gratefulness.org. It's a free website. It has a lot of resources on it. When the book came out, they put my blog on there, and they're going to try to do their first online book study around Christmas with my book. So we're going to try to do that. I'll let you guys know, but that would be wonderful to have that done. But he has a 5-minute video that I thought it'd be nice to kind of start things off with tonight.
How quick we turn the lights off?
Either way.
No, leave them on. Do we need more volume, or are we okay?
It's okay right now.
Okay.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now. And the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you do nothing else but to cultivate that response to the great gift that this unique day is, if you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. We just think of the weather. And even of the weather, we don't think of all the many nuances of weather. We just think of good weather and bad weather. This day, right now, is unique weather. Maybe a kind that we'll never exactly same, that form come again. The formation of clouds in the sky will never be the same that it's right now. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. A story that you could never fully fathom. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. We all go back so far. And in this present moment, on this day, all the people you meet, all that life from generations and from so many places all over the world, flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there's electric light. You turn a faucet and there's warm water and cold water and drinkable water. It's a gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. So these are just a few of an enormous number of gifts to which we can open your heart. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you. That everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you. Just by your eyes, by your smile, by your touch, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. Then it will really be a good day.
And I think David Stendel-Roski really hit some important points there. Just there's so many simple ways to be grateful, and we've got to open ourselves up to that. It's about opening our hearts. You put it so well. So again, let me just go over quickly about writing this book. One of my friends calls gratitude vitamin G because it can help all of us, right? And at first I thought it would just be educators and students, but it really can bring a message of hope to reshape the world. The blog is still going on, and you know, we've got some goodies. Tom was nice enough to copy some things there that you can take with you. You can look at my blog, you can email me and look at my Facebook page. We're all trying to stay energized with gratitude. You know, that's the thing we're doing. And you know, this book, I tried to write it where the chapters are short, and at the end I've got a summary and I've got some questions here, because this is going to be, and it already is, for a lot of schools and teachers and some spiritual groups are going over this, and they're taking a chapter a week and they're looking at it and they're going over the questions, because some of these questions are getting at the roots of what's blocking our gratitude. I know for me too, I can think about that. Why can't I open my heart today for gratitude? Am I too busy? Am I holding resentment against somebody? Am I frustrated? You know, it really kind of gets down to some basic causes and conditions of our lives, and can really help us restructure the way we look at this world. And I had a friend named Ed, and I put his story in here because Ed is not a teacher. He actually works with the auto industry, and he travels around the country to try to help auto dealers stay in compliance with OSHA laws. And so I got to know Ed a little bit, and one day I get a call from him, and he says, Owen, I don't know what's going on, but I'm down here in Louisiana. It's August, it's 100 degrees. I just got a flat tire, my air conditioner broke. What should I do? I said, try a gratitude list. He's all, thanks a lot, and he hangs up. And he goes back to his car. He says, okay, let me try that. I've got a job. I've got a car. Look, the tow truck guy just pulled up. He's going to fixed my tire. And he said pretty quickly, he dried his shirt out, he moved on to his next stop, and that's where gratitude became a part of his life. And on his license plate now, he has a plate there. It's gratitude. And he says gratitude has changed his life. So we never know when we can challenge people to use gratitude. And I gotta give a special gratitude to my sister Nancy here, who's doing the PowerPoint tonight. And she's taping this, but she's just gonna tape me. No one else is gonna be on. And we're gonna start a YouTube channel, Owen Griffith Gratitude. So if you want to look at this, we'll try to get this up by the end of the week. I know I have some friends who couldn't be here tonight. And also my wife and my son, who are back in Atlanta, Georgia, can see this. Okay, so adding God to gratitude. I teach at a Catholic school, so our gratitude lists start with what? God, thank you for today. God, thank you for education. God, thank you for my family who loves me. The publisher, though, said, let's keep this book as broad as we can. There are millions of public school teachers, so let's have this just be thank you. And the Catholic school teachers, the religious people, you can put God in it. And I said, that's fine, but you know, I think it's really an important thing. When I'm grateful to God, you know, it gives a special spiritual nourishment to my message of gratitude. When I can be grateful for that, it really puts an extra bonus in there. You know, in Cicero, he has got that great quote that gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. As I see those fourth graders embrace gratitude, what happens to them? They become more considerate. They become more loving. They become kinder to each other. You know, it was great because that first year, as we started doing the gratitude list, one day a kid raised his hand and said, gratitude's more than a feeling, isn't it? I said, yeah, it's more than a feeling. And he said, what would you call it? I said, well, some people say love isn't a feeling. Love is an action, which I totally believe. If I really love somebody, it's more than they're just not making me feel good, but I am going to show them how much I love them. And so I told him that. I said, gratitude is action. It's a way of seeing this world. It's a way of living. So the student said, well, what should we do? If we're grateful, what should we do? And one of the students said, I'm grateful I have enough food. I said, well, maybe with your parents, you want to look at helping a food bank here in Atlanta. And another one said, what are some simple things we can do? And I said, well, have you ever heard about doing somebody a good deed and not getting found out? He said, no. And I said, I had this wonderful friend who challenged me, and she said she was going through a rough time. And she was challenged. Somebody told her, you have to do somebody a good deed and not get found out, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. Her job was to take a dozen roses, to walk into a nursing home, put them on the counter there, and tell the receptionist, I want you to give these dozen roses to somebody who never gets a visitor. And before the receptionist could thank her and ask her, she had to turn around, and she couldn't tell anybody. So she did this. She said it there. She said, I want you to give these roses to someone who never gets a visitor. She turned around and went out, and she said the receptionist just looked kind of puzzled, a little smile on her face. And as soon as she got to her car, she got her cell phone out, and she was going to say, she said, oh, I can't tell anybody. She said, it was the hardest thing to do, to not share that she had just done something great. And she said it was such a challenge, but as she's driving a couple days later, she said it was like there was some sunshine in her heart that had never been there. That God had known about this. So that sunshine, there was something going on there. So I told my kids this. I said, see if you can do something and not get found out. That could be, you know, doing something at home, cleaning your room, helping do the dishes. See if you can do something and not get found out. So one of my students said, wait a second, Mr. Griffith. I said, what? And they said, that story you told, I really like it. But shouldn't she have stayed there and gone and said, I'm going to go deliver those flowers to the lady who never gets any visitors? And I'm going to go talk to her each week? She's probably pretty lonely. Those flowers would make her feel good for a day or two. But if we're really grateful, shouldn't we put in time to do that? And that showed me where I thought I told this great story that was going to change our lives. And one of the students topped me with that. That was wonderful. And I thought, they're so right. If we're grateful, we should be willing to go help people. I found an organization there in Atlanta that matches up kids with people in nursing homes that don't have anyone to talk to. So we're trying to take this message of gratitude to those people. You know, gratitude prayers are great ways to restart your day. We talk about that. We all have days when we think halfway through it, or even maybe right before you go to bed, I want to restart this day. And a gratitude prayer is a great way to do that. You can just say, God, thank you for getting me this far. Help me restart the day. You know, it really helps us when we give our gratitude to God to reach out to each other. And it displaces, I was talking to Ron before, it really displaces my own ego. When I want to say, I'm so proud that I wrote this book, I just take out the word pride and I put, I'm so grateful for writing this book. Because when I say I'm grateful, what that does then, it makes me see all the people who helped me write this book. I had that publisher who reached out to me, which that rarely happens. People are usually sending their books out to publishers. I had my sister who at the time, another sister, who was in Saudi Arabia. And she said, I'll help you edit the book. And I had so many people, my mom encouraging me, my family encouraging me, Danny using gratitude, he teaches out at St. John Bosco, Nancy using gratitude, all these people who helped me. And I really do feel closest to God and to everyone around me when I practice gratitude. I'm happiest, I'm the most at peace. So here's some quotes I found. And I'm gonna put this PowerPoint up there too, but I like that first one by Albert Schweitzer, who says, "At times, our light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us." You know, I think about that. I have teachers, I have people in my life who, when that flame goes out, I look to them and they relight it for me. William Faulkner had a great quote. He says, "Gratitude is a quality similar to electricity. It must be produced and discharged and used up in order to exist at all." This goes back to gratitude isn't just a pleasant emotion that I enjoy. If I'm grateful, I'm going to show other people that. Meister Eckhart has a real simple one. If the only prayer you say in your life is thank you, that would suffice. Now the deal there is if I'm going to say that prayer of thank you, that's just going to lead to a cascade of other things going on. And Henry Adams, to all the educators out there, he put it so well when he says, "A teacher affects eternity. You can never tell where his influence stops." You know, I was able to do a book signing down in Atlanta, and I had 70 people buy the book. And I have some of those fourth graders who practice gratitude with me. That student who talked about gratitude being an action now is in college. And they've come back to me. I didn't know if gratitude would just be something that they did in fourth grade or it would be part of their lives, but I'm seeing it is part of their lives. There are a couple of them that now want to be teachers so they can give the gift of gratitude back to others. And people shared how it's helped their family. Okay, now, in the fourth grade, we do a brain breaks here. So if you would like, you can stand up and stretch out, get the blood flowing a little bit. But I want to challenge you here. Gratitude challenge is I want you to talk to the person next to you and say something you're grateful for. And then if you want, you can share it with the group. So I'll give you guys about 60 seconds here. Don't be shy if you know the person or not. And if you feel like standing up, feel free. Take a deep breath and think of something you're really grateful for today. Okay, Tom has an announcement too. I hear the gratitude.
I forgot to announce that the restrooms are right outside the door here.
And there.
Well, that was wonderful. I love the way. Now, would anyone like to share? I would like to hear. I learned from you. Do you? Anyone want to raise their hand and share gratitude they have? Yes. What are you grateful for?
Okay, so one of the main things I'm grateful for is my family, who has raised me to become a very good Catholic and helped me to grow my faith journey. The other things I'm grateful for are coming to this church. Ever since we moved from Torrance to Lomita, we started coming to this church. And ever since then, at first I didn't really know much about it, but then we started going to Mass, and then we found about this program here, and then I finally met somebody after saying the Rosary in the chapel. That was last year during the Lomita Fair, and I met this man that prays the Rosary every day, and he admired the fact that I did that, and we've been friends ever since. And this is his wife here, and she's in charge of the special ed program, which I'm also grateful for, and I serve as the lector for the special ed group. And whenever I do it, I read it. And what I do is I read the gospel to the children, and then I give a talk on it during the liturgy.
That's gratitude in action.
The greatest thing I'm grateful for is St. Joseph, like helping me to become a good fatherly figure, whether it's God's will I get married or not, that's his will, but I'm grateful for him. And also I'm grateful for Mary, that she's responsible for helping me to glorify God more and more. And also to Jesus, that because he did not come here to die on the cross to improve bad people, he came to die on the cross so that all the dead people, since sin leads to death and we are all sinners, that all the dead people will rise and resist the sin, the bad guy, and come to the glory of God.
Wow. Good job. Thank you. That was beautiful. Yes.
I am grateful for him.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Oh, and I'm grateful for you. I'm Dr. Don Brand, a longtime superintendent of the Weisberg School District, and that's where
I started.
When Owen left business and industry, he came to do some substitute teaching, and look what it's led to in just 10 or 11 years.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Don Brand. Anybody else?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please share.
One thing that I shared with this nice lady, Nancy, is that for Thanksgiving, I make a long list of friends that I feel that they have helped me during the year, or something that they have, something that I'm grateful for, even their friendship. And I just write it and send it for Thanksgiving, and it makes me feel good, and it makes me feel good.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Would you like to share?
To have a family and have shelter.
I'm grateful for St. Margaret Mary Parish. It's the most wonderful community, made up of the most wonderful people. And I'm grateful for Father Sunshine, who's hiding in the back. Always so uplifting. I'm grateful for life.
Both are fathers we have. Yes, Ron.
Yeah, I'm grateful for this gal right here. Her friend and loyal, and my wife, of course. Best friend. She's got so many qualities that I've learned to have gratitude for, appreciate. There's another one thing I like to add in a general sense, for that I'm always aware of. I I'm so grateful to the fact that I'm born and lived in America. What a freedom and liberty that we have.
We can spend the rest of the night, but I'll move on here. Now, it's interesting. I have a degree in psychology, and one of the great things that happened as I started the blog is research caught up with me. I knew that gratitude was working, but like I'd go to my principal and I'd say, I'm doing this thing on gratitude, and she'd say, well, you're from California, and you guys, that kumbaya stuff, And so I said, well, look at this research. The John Templeton Foundation gave $10 million to study how gratitude could be used by educators. When they saw what I was doing, they flew me up to UC Berkeley last year, where the top researchers shared what they were doing with gratitude, and I got to share, and I got to see what they were doing. They're still working on it. But what they found, Dr. Froh and Dr. Emmons, they started to go to schools about 10 years ago, and there's been a lot of research where they would do scientifically, they would do empirical testing where they'd have 3 random groups of students. They'd have one group, nothing, the control group. They'd have one group that would do a simple gratitude list, and one group would be the complaint group, where they'd actually write about the things that were bad in life. And when they studied it, it was really interesting. As you can think, the gratitude group, those kids felt better, right? But some other things happened. Their grades improved. Their goals improved. They had less discipline problems. The neutral group, not much changed. The complaint group, you can imagine, everything went down. So when that started happening, people started giving a little more credence to gratitude and to what it could do for educators. One of the founders of psychology, a guy who worked on learned helplessness, was a guy named Dr. Martin Seligman. And he's been, in the last 10 years, he's been one of the proponents of positive psychology, saying psychology should not look at dysfunction and all the bad things going on, but start looking at increasing happiness. And gratitude has been a big thing that he's done. So I'm grateful to see that psychology's moved from that. Another guy, Dr. Rick Hansen, he wrote a book called Hardwiring Happiness, and he studied to see how when we practice things like gratitude, it actually changes the way our brain works. And it kind of makes sense. If you think about your brain as a forest, the paths you go down more often are going to be stronger. And he said that, our brains are kind of made up where they're negative thoughts for Velcro, but positive thoughts are like Teflon, meaning that we're kind of geared. I know like 100 things will happen to me in a day. 99 will be good, 1 will be bad. When I'm driving home, what's that one thing I'm thinking of?
The bad thing.
The bad thing, right. So he said, since we're kind of geared towards that, we have to rewire our brains. And does it take a lot of money or time? No, it doesn't. He said it's as simple as dwelling on the good things in life. The key to rewiring our brains for happiness is gratitude, is to focus on the good things that happen to us. And again, there's been scientific studies on this. So the next slide is one of the things I really like about the book. And you guys can close your eyes or just read this, but he says, think about something you've eaten recently that you really enjoyed. Imagine that flavor, whether it's a perfectly ripe peach, coming from Atlanta, Georgia. A warm chocolate chip cookie out of the oven, or on a nice hot day, a cool sip of iced tea. Try to imagine that taste and that smell and the deep satisfaction it brings. He said throughout the day, if we could just savor that, or a conversation with a good friend, a hug from a loved one, if we can just kind of take a breath and stop and really savor that, that's living gratitude. That's really going to rewire our brains where we start to see more of the good stuff that's happening. All right, so the benefits of practicing gratitude, building up our gratitude muscles. Sometimes I tell our students we're working out our gratitude muscles when we do these activities. And the good news is, I've had students and I have colleagues who say, well, gratitude works for you, but it can never work for me. I'm just not a grateful person. Well, what they found in the studies they've done with adults also are the people who struggle the most with gratitude are the people who have the most gains. So don't give up. If you think you're not a grateful person, that's okay. You might be one of the people who really, really does well here. So gratitude reframes our experience. It doesn't take away the negative experiences, but allows us to reframe them. Back to that woman I talked about, Marlene. She had a rough life. Life happens. We struggle. We get sick. We lose loved ones. We have financial problems. But I can still choose gratitude, the grateful people, they're able to reframe that. Dr. Emmons and Dr. McCullough showed the people who are more grateful didn't have the less problems, but they reframed it. I really like this quote from Dr. Emmons. He's a great guy up at UC Davis, and he wrote on the back of the book, he gave one of the testimonies, but his quote here is, "Grateful individuals aren't naively optimistic, nor are they under some illusion that suffering and pain are non-existent. Rather, these people have consciously taken control by choosing to extract benefits from adversity, with one of the major benefits being the perception of life as a gift." You know, I had one student named Rachel, and she was wonderful. One day we were going around the room, the kids were giving the gratitude list, and she said, "God, thank you for all the bad stuff that happens to me." And at first I thought, what does she mean? And then it struck me. When I can be grateful for the things that I judge, I teach them in my judgment, right? This is bad. But in hindsight, if I can be grateful for those things, you know, I can see those are the people in my life who challenge me. I call those the spiritual sandpaper. You know, those people, it feels like sandpaper, but it smooths out my rough edges. You know, those are the people that I can really grow from. And you know, one of these things that gratitude taught me is that I can learn from my students. There was a student I had, and one day I'm up at the board, and it's a rough night. My son, you know, he kept me up all night so I didn't get enough sleep. And I'm writing millennium on the board. And this little girl has her hand raised, and I said, "Yes, what would you like to share?" And she goes, "Mr. Griffith, you spelled millennium wrong." And I got so mad, and I was just, okay, it's lunchtime, Saved by the Bell. So I take the kids down to lunch, and I go into the teacher's room, and I teach with some sisters, some Dominican sisters. So one of the sisters is sitting there, Sister Maria Clemens. I said, "Sister, you won't believe what happened. This student had the gall to correct me in front of everyone. I should just go back there, I should do it." And she goes, "Wait a second, aren't you Mr. Gratitude?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "That student was paying so close attention that she's found you should thank her. In fact, here, you should be grateful for her. You could go back to your students and you could say, every day I'm going to put a mistake on the board. I want you guys to find it and give them a piece of candy or a Skittle or something. Then if you make a mistake, you just pretend like you did it, and they'll pay attention." So that was a great example to me of how in life we can just be, or we can say, what am I supposed to be learning here? Now it turns out that student who found that when we did the ITBS testing, which is the big thing, on editing skills, on skills she placed in the 4th grade at 12th grade level, 12 plus, which is like college level. And I think how I could have squashed that in her really easily. But by encouraging that, all the kids' scores are through the roof there. So that's just an example as a teacher. I think in our families, you know, we have, what you shared earlier was so wonderful about, we have opportunities every day to connect with people. They say as teachers, all it takes is the proper adult at the proper time to change a kid's life, and we never know what that is. And that's a real gift. Okay, so the psychological benefits. Lowers the risk of depression. At the book signing, one of my former students' mom came up to me and said, "I had a friend whose teenage son was really struggling with clinical depression, and I didn't know what to do. She was really struggling. He didn't want help. He was just languishing there." And she said, "I told him about your gratitude list." And I said, "This might give him a little hope so we can get him to therapy." And sure enough, when this mom started a gratitude list with his son, he became willing to go see somebody. He got back into high school. So we never know when, you know, gratitude can help somebody. Gratitude takes away a lot of that negative stuff, envy, regret, resentments. It helps give us that resilience to overcome trauma, lowers aggression, increases empathy, and improves our self-esteem. And the physical benefits, reduces the stress hormones. This is where I think is really interesting, where, you know, physiologically our bodies change, and it makes sense. If I'm stressed out and I'm producing cortisol or some of those other stress hormones that aren't good for me, if I'm grateful, my body's naturally going to quit doing that. It improves the duration and quality of sleep. For those of us, is anybody sleep deprived here, like I am after flying out from Atlanta and getting up at 3:30 this morning? You know, gratitude, and I was talking to my sister before, once in a while when I'll wake up in the middle of the night and have trouble getting back to sleep, I'll go through the alphabet and I'll just do a gratitude list. A, I'm grateful for apples. B, I'm grateful for my brothers. C, and usually before I get to Z, I'm back asleep. It's really wonderful. You know, our white blood cells, that count goes up, that fights diseases. We usually make healthier choices, exercising more, avoiding smoking. I thought it was really interesting. UC San Diego did this cardiac study, and they actually found that the patients that practiced a gratitude journal had less swelling in their heart, which was amazing. And this one's good too. If you consistently practice gratitude activities, you make 7% more money and you live 7 years longer. And you're going to enjoy your life more, so that's great. Okay, so the benefits of gratitude for students: higher grades and higher goals. I had this girl named Alexis, and whenever she'd be done with her work, she'd come up to me and she'd go, "Can I have some more math, Mr. Griffith?" And I'd always find math, and I'd keep challenging her. And one day I looked at her and I said, "Alexis, I'm so grateful that you love math." She goes, "Oh no, math is my hardest subject." I said, "Well, wait a second. Why are you asking for math?" And she said, "You told us to be grateful for the things that challenge us, and math is my hardest subject." So I told myself, I'm going to keep doing math until it becomes my best subject. And sure enough, by the end of the year it did. And she was such a great example. Again, she taught me that, when I have a tendency to shy away from things I'm not good at, if I'm grateful for the challenge, it can really help me. There's more satisfaction with relationship, with life and school. We all want to have our students enjoy school more. They're more helpful. They're more generous and compassionate. They're more resilient. They have more joy. They feel less lonely and isolated, less discipline problems, drug abuse, smoking. And we can watch those students make gratitude an action. So applying gratitude. I have so many gratitude activities in the book, and people have given me those. But back to gratitude journal. A gratitude journal has always worked for me. I can always do one, and I always feel better. And now technology allows us, you can do gratitude on an iPhone. One of the gentleman actually who wrote the foreword to this book is a guy named Dr. Fro. He works at Hofstra University. He's one of the top researchers. And I was asking him, as I was writing the book, I said, "You do a gratitude list, right?" He goes, "No." I said, "Really? You study gratitude?" He said, "Gratitude list never worked for me, but you know the way I do it?" I said, "How?" He said, "I have a picture of my wife and my 2 sons on my desk. I have it in my car. I have it where I get ready in the morning, and I've made a deal with myself. Every time I see that picture, I'm going to think of something I'm grateful for about my family." So every day, my love for them grows. My appreciation to them grows. So there's so many ways to do it. Another really good way is a gratitude letter. When you think about someone you're grateful for, and you deliver that letter, and you tell that person you're grateful for them, or even mail it, the gratitude visit can be part of that. One of the things, I've had teachers who have tried this but given up, and I've told those teachers, get yourself a gratitude partner, a colleague, or someone that you can be accountable to, that you could send emails to, or you can leave voice messages to try to keep them doing their gratitude. Gratitude sticky notes are great. We put that all around my classroom. I put that where I get ready in the morning. You could do a gratitude family album. It's nice. You get like an old photo album. You have everybody in your family write what they're grateful for. And this one I really love, gratitude at a red light. Now this comes from a mom. This mom said, "We don't have time for gratitude." So one day I'm sitting at a red light, and I said, every red light we hit as we're coming to school and going home, we're going to hit a number of them every day. Every time we hit a light, let's go around the car and say something we're grateful for. So, you can apply gratitude in so many ways. I do I do the gratitude conferences with my kids in school, where every month I take time to tell them something I'm really grateful for about them. And it's interesting because as a classroom teacher, a lot of times you get so busy, you're dealing with all the stuff going on, just trying to get from point A to point B. If I didn't take that time, these kids are growing in so many ways that I can really find things to build themselves up. When you find gratitude in someone who really likes art or technology, that's another way to do it. Gratitude tattoos. That's not a high school teacher. A friend of mine did that, where she actually will bring in henna tattoos and have the kids study the Chinese radicals for different character traits that they think they're really good at. And they can do that with the parents' permission, or they use ballpoint pens. And on this next slide, I'm going to show you, we made these gratitude, that's my classroom at St. Catherine of Siena. One of the other teachers saw me using gratitude, and I went outside in the hall one day, and there were all these things, and you can see God, thank you for. This other teacher had started a gratitude chain, and within a week, every teacher in the school had linked up the gratitude chain. And my students said, we can blow them away. Let's make as much gratitude as we can in here. And as you'd walk down the hall, after it all got linked, sometimes it would fall apart a little bit, and we'd have to link it up again. I thought that was kind of symbolic of the way gratitude can link us all together. Okay, so tips for success. People have asked me, what would you say is most important to really make gratitude work? And I think it has to be authentic. And I really think as teachers, as parents, as friends, as colleagues, you really have to model gratitude. I had a teacher who said, I asked my students to do it and it really didn't work. I said, well, did you do it first? She said, no. And I said, well, you have to do it first. If the kids see you doing it, they're going to do it. So we demonstrate it, we share it, we celebrate the victories. And I told her, I say, tell the students why it's hard for you. A lot of them are probably experiencing the same thing. Explore that. Be vulnerable, share those challenges, make it a priority. You know, that gratitude list I did at work, I timed it. It took less than 2 minutes every day. Once I did it, once you get in the flow. We start our day off. It's a good bell activity where the bell rings, the kids are settling down. We can have our 5 gratitudes done within a couple minutes. It's not something that takes away from the rest of our lives or the rest of our day. You know, we practice gratitude in action. That altruism that, you know, the kids can practice, it really shows how they can displace some of that materialism, some of that entitlement. A lot of my colleagues say this generation now seems to be the most materialistic and the most entitled. And gratitude is a way that can open them up to the altruism. Now, I had a student, Joe, and he called me up one day and said, Mr. Griffith, I just got to share this story. I was going to college today and I saw a couple homeless guys. And I asked them if they needed help because I heard a storm was coming. So I had them hop in the back of my pickup truck. I took them to a homeless shelter. I stopped at McDonald's and got them some food. One of the guys said, could I have your shoes? And I said, no, I'm a poor college student. So he told them they couldn't have his shoes, and he said, I don't want anyone to know about this, but I wanted to tell you. And I asked him, I said, Joe, why'd you do that? He said, when I looked at those homeless people, and I thought of all the things I had to be grateful for, it just made me want to help them. I said, Joe, can I put this in the book? He said, yeah, if you help other people, put the story in the book. So, you know, we see how that gratitude can take it to a deeper level. You know, we create gratitude partners or gratitude groups. When I started the blog, a couple teachers said, can you start a group that would meet before school? And I said, you really think teachers are going to come early to school? And she said, yeah. In fact, I'll make some homemade cookies the first day. So this has been going on 7 years now, where on Wednesdays we meet at 7 o'clock, and it's a little gratitude group where each week somebody leads the group. We talk about what's working with gratitude, what's nourishing our spirit. And those days when I go see the gratitude group, life isn't so irritating. I see the good stuff in life. So when we have partners that help us with that, gratitude just flourishes. All right, preventing gratitude, fatigue, and burnout. We can also go deeper with gratitude. Now that they've had some money to study gratitude, they find the kids that use the word because. And I like the pizza story here. I tell the students now, you can write 5 gratitudes, or you can write 1 gratitude and write because. If they write because, like you just say, I'm God, thank you for my family. But if you say, thank you for my family because, it takes you to that next level. Thank you for my family because they love me. Because they provide me shelter and food. Because my mom helped me with my homework last night. And one student for pizza, he said, God, thank you for pizza. And he did 3 pages. The son that had the wheat, to the farmer who, and the cheese, and down to the clerk who gave him the pizza. So, you know, when he says he'll never look at a piece of pizza the same way again, you know, gratitude did that for him. We differentiate, you know, not all students want to express gratitude the same way, and that's okay. You know, my son who's 7, I let him express gratitude in different ways. Some days he likes to draw it, some days he likes to put it on the computer. And with our teenage, you know, I have a whole chapter in here on gratitude in teenagers, because I've had some people say, gratitude may work for your 4th graders, it won't work for my teenager. And one thing I found with teenagers it does work is you let them lead the gratitude activity. In fact, one group of teenagers, they found an organization that they really liked. Samantha, she started, well, I probably didn't tell you this, but my son Asher, who's 7, we adopted him from Ethiopia, and he has been such a gift to us. And when I shared this with my students, one girl, unbeknownst to us, she started an online charity for all the orphans still in Ethiopia. So when I think about that, you know, the students who do things like that, it just really shows me the power of gratitude. You know, and a choice board is simply like a tic-tac-toe thing that has different things students can do. We always want to give them some chances to find new ways to do it. One of the students did a Facebook page that was nice. Okay, so gratitude and loss. When I was writing this book, I thought about my oldest brother, Steve, who passed away. And I thought, you know, can gratitude work with loss? And I read something from Brother David Stendal Ross. And he said that gratitude is not something that we can say we're grateful for losing a loved one. We can't say we're grateful for war or violence. We say gratitude can be part of the healing. So gratitude, you know, it's something that doesn't take that away. Nothing can take that hole away that I feel from my brother Steve. But gratitude really helped the healing. I wrote this book because my brother Steve was an English major. He showed me the power of words to connect us, to express things that we can't. And he taught me to play guitar. One of the things that happened that was so special is I got his Martin guitar after he passed away, and it came to me, and I didn't know if I could open it. And when I opened it and I played it, I just felt the gratitude, and I took that into class the next day, and I told my students, I said, this is my brother Steve's guitar. He passed away, but when I played this guitar, he taught me how to play guitar, and he's still with me. I know that the physical death doesn't mean that he's the end of the relationship. He's still with me. And I played it, and I got an email the next day from one of my students' moms who said that student's grandfather had just passed away. And they weren't able to talk about it until they heard me share about my brother Steve. And so that was another time that I saw that when we're vulnerable and when we allow gratitude to not just help celebrate the good things in life, but help us when we go through those hard times. Because we're all going to go through the hard times. It's part of being human beings. And if we can let gratitude be part of that, it can really help us. Dr. Emmons says, it is vital to make a distinction between feeling grateful and being grateful. Being grateful is a choice, a prevailing attitude that endures and is relatively immune to the gains and losses that flow in and out of our lives. And it's challenging. It's not easy, you know, and it took me a long time to do that, but it's still something that helped me. And Brother David Stendal Ross, he really puts it well when he says, gratefulness doesn't cure suffering, but heals it, makes it meaningful and life-affirming. It saves us from closing ourselves off, from becoming bitter. All right. So, reshaping the world. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm grateful for you. I wasn't able, you know, I wanted to keep this short, but there's 12 chapters in here, and I wasn't able to go over gratitude and technology. One of the things I do is I ask my students to go on a gratitude or go on a technology fast to get away from that screen time. So I go into that. I also talk about enlisting the help of the family, challenging the complaining culture. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. We can empower the world with gratitude by practicing it. Spread it out to everybody. You guys here, the agents of change, you can help us all. We have the flyers by Tom over there. Tom was so helpful there. I don't have any books with me tonight, but right now there's a 40% off discount. If anyone wants to get a book, you can see the information over there. Please feel free to email me. The email is going to be over there. I'm doing a book signing down at Barnes & Noble. Take the flyers. And yeah, email me. If you have any questions, and share your success stories. People are sharing their success stories with me, and it helps me so much. I have a blog, WW Spiritually Teaching. It's on one of the flyers over there. I have a Facebook page. And, you know, we ran over a little bit, but Tom, do we still have time? I mean, if you need to go home, I understand, but can we do a quick Q&A, or? Okay. Anybody on questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Owen. Honestly, it's just wonderful. My heart is full of gratitude for you. And I do, when I go to bed at night, I do my gratitude list. And I try to think of that during the day. Well, somebody said to me, I didn't make this up, when we were going through some really tough times physically and, you know, all different kinds of things. And she said to me, you're supposed to say the prayer, thank you, God, for one more opportunity to show you that I trust and love you. And I wanted to vomit because I was going through some tough times. But I have learned to love that prayer. And when things go wrong, thank you, God, for one more opportunity to show you that I love and trust you. So I just want to add.
Beautiful. Help us trust God. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Can we order your book at this website?
Yes, my publisher would love to fill those orders. You can go online and do it, and there's a code there to get the 40% off. And if you want to have it signed, you can come out to my book signing at Barnes & Noble out in Long Beach, down PCH on Wednesday. And yeah, if you have any questions, I would love to keep in touch with you. I have to head back to Atlanta later on this week, but I do come out periodically, so thank you for having me here.
One
Yes,
more
ma'am.
question.
Yes.
Well, what is one of the things that you do, or several of the things that you do, to relate that to the kids where they can become more grateful?
You mean like, what activities do I have?
Yeah, how would, you know, I often, share with my kids, be grateful and make a list of, 5. But that's all I've done. I mean, I don't do anything like concrete, like a bingo and that kind of thing. Are there things in the classroom that you do?
Sure, I think the gratitude letter is great, where you ask them, and when we have to think about who am I grateful for in life? Has it been a teacher, maybe a relative, someone I'm grateful for? And sit down and write just a short letter to that person, telling them that you deliver it to them. Yeah, because when a kid sees that, when you deliver a gratitude letter, it helps. They've done studies on the endorphins in the brain, the person giving the gratitude letter, the person receiving it, everybody's watching it. It's just such a powerful experience. And ask them. Say, do you want to use technology? Do you want to use art to express your gratitude? Are there any charities? I think that altruistic, volunteering somewhere. Are you guys grateful? What, is your passion? What can we show our gratitude? That's a great question. Thank you. Yes, sir.
What was that lady's name who was saying that, thank you God for all the bad things that has happened to me?
That was great. That was my student Rachel.
Oh, yes, I just would like to say that my grandfather had a very good line. Thank God for everything.
There you go. That covers it all, right? Thank you for everything. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate it.